Out of the gates and ready to go. Hot Bite with Hunter Withrow underway. The Tuesday edition is here. We're glad you're with us. OutKick.com/watch is where you can find us. John McClain coming up later this hour, plus Clay Travis in hour number 2 as we broadcast and stream across the OutKick Network. Chad, good afternoon.
Hutton, something about a Tuesday always has me pissed off for greatness. Every Tuesday, if I had to pick the one day of week that I am always pissed off, it's on a Tuesday. So I don't care what topic you bring up right now, trending or otherwise, I'm likely to have a negative response to that topic. I am pissed off. I'm ready. What's the name of the show? Hot Mike?
Yeah.
I'm going to be hot throughout this first 37 minutes of this show today. I am ready to go. Maybe I cool off at the 38-minute mark. I don't know. Maybe I carry this fire until the end of our 2-hour show. Who knows? But whatever happens, it's going to be exciting.
How about the conspiracy theory that, well, the NFL
Hold on, let me post my show on social media to make sure it's out there. Thank you.
Do that tweet.
I'll be listening to you, though, while you do that, okay?
How about the theory, the NFL is rigged? You know, I laugh at this anytime I see it. And some of them are very creative. Some of them are actually, people believe this.
Davey believes it. He's a big NFL is scripted guy.
Yeah, there are a lot of people, I guess. The script apparently has Taylor Swift attending the Super Bowl. Not the Ravens, but the Chiefs. Because, again, last week, everyone was on board with the NFL is scripted. Look at the logos. Look at the Super Bowl logos where the team colors are represented in each logo of the last 2 years. And, man, look at the championship weekend where there's purple and red. There's got to be, man, you look at the Bengals and the Rams, and then you have the Eagles and the Chiefs. And the smaller amount, the team with the least amount of color on the logo, well, that happened to be the team that won the Super Bowl. Are the San Francisco 49ers about to beat the Ravens in the Super Bowl? No, actually not. The Chiefs won. So now it's got to be Taylor Swift. It was the color of Taylor Swift and the dress.
Color of one of her albums. I'm not sure exactly which one, but Speak Now. The Speak Now album.
There it is. So it's the actual dress. It's actually the Chiefs were there the entire time. It still has, by the way, the 49ers winning. But you even have it reaching the political realm, where I'm not sure if this sentiment would be heralded the same way if Kid Rock were representing the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. But here we are, where apparently Taylor Swift and Kelsey are going to endorse President Biden for the 2024 election now. That has people up in arms, including Vivek, who is posting, I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month. And I wonder if there's a major presidential endorsement coming from an artificially, culturally propped up couple this fall. Just some wild speculation over here. Let's see how it goes, see how it ages over the next 8 months. Yes, the NFL had it scripted that, well, their MVP, a 2-time MVP about to be, couldn't live up to any of the major moments, even though he had some major moments in the game. And a quarterback who was able to post 17 points in the game ends up beating the Baltimore Ravens. And here we go again with Kansas City onward to win another championship. Chad, the latest NFL is rigged theory is Taylor Swift she was primed for the Super Bowl the entire time for the endorsement opportunity. Not that she was, she's already endorsed Biden once.
She's endorsing Travis Kelce's, which is
but Kelsey's yes, exactly, and endorsing the NFL at the same time. The endorsement would have been there all along anyway.
Well, okay. Let's back it up to the beginning here. CNN headline on this story: right-wing media figures target Taylor Swift with absurd conspiracy theory ahead of the Super Bowl. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy, he posted this 8 months ago. Is that right?
No, earlier this week, Monday.
He said, I got you. He's talking about the election. I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month. And I wonder if there's a major presidential endorsement coming from an artificially, culturally propped up couple this fall. I go back to sort of what you said there. Does anyone doubt that Taylor Swift would endorse Joe Biden over Donald Trump? Are we neck and neck?
They're looking for her endorsement again.
Are we neck and neck? It's weird that they don't have her endorsement now. I mean, is it an opportunity for her to announce the endorsement at the Super Bowl? I mean, I guess. It is a little bit odd. There's a New York Times story out this week that they're just desperate, Biden's group is, for her endorsement.
I'm sure they are.
I'm seeing that 5% of Americans will vote what Taylor Swift, who Taylor Swift tells them to vote for. Utterly absurd if you're listening to Taylor Swift on who to vote for. Now, if it was Kid Rock, I think he would probably endorse Donald Trump at this Super Bowl if it were the Lions playing there.
And so Bud Light. He was drinking Bud Light.
At least Donald Trump would get that, right. Yeah, he's back with Bud Light as well. Look, anyone who votes because Taylor Swift told them to vote for a specific person, I don't know that you deserve a vote if that's your sole factor for who you're voting for is because Taylor Swift said to do this. Also, it's no mystery that Taylor Swift is very liberal and going to endorse the Democratic candidate no matter what.
Correct.
She's especially going to endorse that Democratic candidate if they're going head-to-head with Donald J. Trump, who every liberal especially despises. This is no mystery. Here's what this also isn't. A damn conspiracy by the NFL. Taylor Swift is going to endorse Joe Biden. It may be on Super Bowl Sunday. It may be the day after. When she posts that endorsement on Instagram, apparently 5% of America are going to start doing backflips for President Biden, even though he's in no physical or mental shape to do any backflips anytime soon. They'll do the backflips for him if Taylor Swift says so. This is so stupid. It's dumb. I don't think that Vivek's being, honestly, that intellectually honest with this. I don't think he believes it. I think he's putting it out there as kindling to the fire is all he's doing. I don't think he even believes this. It's ridiculous to think that's the case. Ridiculous. Let me mute my phone now. Got to do everything over here, including tweet out the show.
That's the robocall for the endorsement, Chad. That's the robocall.
So, no, look, it's not, there's no script writers. The NFL has not done this. Here's another thing for you. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are legitimately in love. Will that love last? I don't freaking know. I don't know their relationship. But I don't think this is some artificially constructed thing one way or the other. Is it going to annoy the hell out of most football fans on Super Bowl Sunday? Absolutely.
Chad,
it's going to annoy them. And it's your prerogative to be annoyed by this if you want to be.
You heard my perfect script if they were going to actually write out the ending of the NFL season, what the NFL would have wanted the script writers to put. It was never posted, by the way, so I'm not sure if anyone saw it. But we did have the script writers' perfect ending, where it ends with a proposal live on CBS with the NFL and the confetti falling.
No, you laid it out nicely. I mean, that would be.
We were talking Taylor Swift last week.
Well, here's like the whole a conspiracy. So Taylor Swift can have the spotlight to endorse Joe Biden, which everyone knows she's already going to endorse Joe Biden. What percentage of the NFL ownership group, which, by the way, the 32 owners run the league. Roger Goodell works for those 32 owners. What percentage of those owners are going to vote Trump over Biden? 80%? 90%?
I don't know, but they also kept him out.
Owners?
They also kept him out of purchasing an NFL team.
They did, but I'm talking big money here.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they talk with their wallets. Are they going to vote for Joe Biden and his policies? Or are they going to vote for Donald J. Trump and the Republican nominee? What percentage of NFL owners usually votes Republican in presidential elections? You see how it doesn't quite equate as to the owners wanting this to be some script-written conspiracy for Taylor Swift? I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I mean
my phone is silenced now. So we're
well
good.
done. They also, they have been begging Taylor Swift to perform at the halftime show. They couldn't land Swift because she was with Coke. It was the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show. Now it's Apple Music.
Apple Music, yep.
And it's through Rock Nation that's producing it. They had was it 2 years ago? They had one of the lowest viewer audiences. 2 years ago, I believe. Then last year, skyrocketed to number
Rihanna's
one.
First performance in like 5 years.
Yes. And this will crush it too. But now they have Taylor Swift the entire time. And the NFL has had her for how long throughout the season? Since the Bears game back in September.
It's all great for the NFL. It's all gravy.
Since Kelce wanted to extend the friendship bracelet.
Yeah, but that conspiracy theory is a little bit ridiculous. Who's Usher going to endorse? The guy who's actually performing the halftime show. We're going to get an endorsement from him? at halftime? I'm willing to bet the NFL and Apple
He just wears
said,
something
we're
with his
not
endorsement.
going to do anything political during this halftime show. Let's just stay away from politics altogether during the halftime show. That's my guess. Now, he may go rogue. He may give his endorsement right there. I don't know. But I bet we're not going to see much political from Usher. We're going to see some grinding on stage. We're definitely going to see that. We may see Taylor Swift grinding on Donna Kelsey in a suite somewhere to one of the Usher songs. We're not going to see an endorsement from Usher. That I can guarantee.
The timing of everything, like that. I think the other thing too, Chad, is that you have the Swifties who will tune into the NFL game, right? Because she's there. Where will Swift be on Election Day to get people out to vote?
Probably in her second leg in Tokyo for the show.
Maybe China. Who knows? Where will Kelsey be with her? Maybe they're looking for wedding venues.
Again, if Taylor Swift is your North Star on how to make huge decisions in your life, reevaluate your priorities. I like Taylor Swift. I like her music. I'm fine with Taylor Swift. I'm fine with Swifties. I'm fine with you being a huge Taylor Swift fan. But if Taylor Swift is going to color your political outlook, then you need to read more. This is where you need to start reading books and stop just listening to Taylor Swift on everything. Well, that's my public service.
That's where people vote on party, not on actual individual candidates. And they're superstar idols or what they're doing.
Yeah,
they follow.
Well, they vote on what popular culture tells them to do.
Did you ever have in the script, Chad, Travis Kelce becoming some influencer? I did not. Who's George Kittle going to endorse?
Look,
in the Super
think
Bowl?
Kittle's got a good personality too. I always saw Kelce as
Brock Purdy
a guy with a big personality. I mean, it wouldn't be the top of the list of someone if you said, who's going to land Taylor Swift and date Taylor Swift?
If Garoppolo was still there, I would want to know who the porn star is going to endorse that he's with.
Absolutely. Maybe she'll run too. But Garoppolo would be a good example of who I could see with Taylor Swift before Travis Kelce. Right? If I'm going down the list, I'm going to quarterbacks first for Taylor Swift. I also
friendship bracelets for
Kelsey's got a big personality. I think he's good on stage. He's good in a crowd. He's a good storyteller. I don't know. It's good for them.
Here she is at the Super Bowl. This is the endorsement. This is what it'll look like right here. Classic photo.
Love that. Is that Lynn Dawson?
It is.
But Taylor Swift instead.
Smoking a wind stick.
I saw that Kyle Juszczyk, Kyle Juszczyk, his wife or girlfriend that modeled that jacket, that Travis Kelce coat she wore, she now struck a deal with NFL to have an official apparel line through the NFL after designing that jacket. And Taylor Swift gave her a shout out for the jacket that she designed for her to wear to honor Travis Kelce.
Speaking of the game, you ready for this? With the 49ers and Chiefs having no Alabama players on the active roster, this is from Josh DeBow, a remarkable streak will continue. No player who finished college at Alabama has scored a point in a Super Bowl. Players from 143 other colleges from Coast Guard to Miami have scored in a Super Bowl. I am stunned by that. Alabama players, and as many as there are, none on either roster.
Can we find the guy from the U.S. Coast Guard Academy that scored the touchdown too, or scored a point, maybe a kicker at some point? That's what fascinates me about that little fact. That is crazy, and just underlines the fact that Alabama's basically dead right now after Nick Saban left. Just another point to hit about Alabama's dying.
Davey has a point to hit.
The one trick on that is they had to be the person that went across the goal line, because Bart Starr was an Alabama quarterback that actually threw for a touchdown, but
he did not score.
Yeah, he wasn't the one that got it across the line.
No, Alabama
Bart
has
Starr
scored a point.
The game before a Super Bowl with one of the most famous touchdowns of all time in the Ice Bowl. The guy who snuck it in across the goal line on that play, but didn't cross the goal line in the Super Bowl.
Look at Davey giving Alabama a little credit here, because they did have a... What's going on?
Davey was quick to follow up with some Alabama praise.
No. I just...
Again,
I call him like I see him, man.
Well, I mean, you're calling... I thought it was clear in the tweet. No Alabama player has scored a point in a Super Bowl.
That's factually
there
correct.
are fantasy points for throwing a touchdown.
People were coming back to me and said, like, hey, Peyton Manning's not thrown a point in a Super Bowl. I'd push back on that. Or he's not scored a point in a Super Bowl. I'd push back.
Has he not had a quarterback sneak at any point?
highly
Or his
doubt
old
it.
naked
I don't remember
boot.
him being known for that.
His naked boot play was pretty nice.
I mean, I don't know if he has or not, Chad. I'm just saying, like, that's how you score a
Well,
point.
I think like Willie Gault scored a touchdown in a Super Bowl from Tennessee. I'm just thinking about Tennessee players who would have scored. Jamal Lewis, I think, certainly scored at some point in a Super Bowl. So there's been multiple Tennessee players that have done it.
Sure.
Joe Namath has, thrown touchdown passes, who's an Alabama guy in the Super Bowl also, Super Bowl III. So
You know who will score points for me? And isn't getting any in Vegas right now? Patrick Mahomes. Guys, there is no way that I am going to, over the next couple of weeks here, be able to look at this game and think that I'm actually on the final day, Chad, you and I are sitting in Vegas for the show, picking the 49ers. Let me just go ahead and throw this out there. I cannot bet against Kansas City. I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. The idea that they are the underdog is crazy to me, albeit by less than a field goal. I think their defense has the advantage in this. I trust their defense more than I trust the 49ers, who almost react to what the opponent does early in the game, and then they make adjustments. To their credit, they make those adjustments. But their defensive line their defensive front is not nearly as consistent as what I see with the Chiefs. And on the flip side, how do you pick against Patrick Mahomes right now? No matter the weapons, no matter what the 49ers have done, I just saw what the Ravens had done against a quality opponents throughout the season. They boat raced them until it came to KC in the playoffs when it mattered. Chad, I'm here to tell you, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm going ahead and let you know this right now because I'm not betting against Mahomes, Kelsey, or Andy Reid. Spagnuolo, when it comes to the actual game plan that's being put together and what I see from the Chiefs, who, albeit with players that were not a part of certain Super Bowl matchups in the past. 49ers don't have those guys either, by and large. But what they do have is the coaching staff and the quarterback and the tight end to get it done. And they have a very affordable and very elite defense this year. Young talent, speed, and consistency. I think it's a great game, but I've seen KC win time and time again. I have seen them lose, but I haven't seen Patrick Mahomes lose the game, which means I can't bet against him. I feel foolish if I go San Francisco, and I'm saying that now before the line flips.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm voting San Francisco in this game. I've said it before. I'll say it a million times. Patrick Mahomes is John Wick. You cannot kill him. I'm on a John Wick kick right now. I just started watching these films, and that's what Patrick Mahomes reminds me of. He is Keanu Reeves with a blade. You're not going to kill that guy. He's going to find a way to beat you. And that's what they've done because their offense has not been as explosive as in years past. They're relying on their defense more, but now they're relying on that efficiency also to get the job done. So I will definitely be betting the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Shout out to Adam Brown, who lets us know. Kurt Knight from the United States Coast Guard Academy kicked for the Washington Redskins from 1969 to 1973, which means in Super Bowl VII, in a 14-7 loss to that great undefeated Miami Dolphins team, Kurt Knight kicked an extra point and scored a point in a Super Bowl, being the one player from the U.S. Coast Guard Academy to score a point.
Love it.
One more player than the University of Alabama has produced a point in a Super Bowl. Take that, Todd.
So that's the lowest. Coast Guard with 1 point ever. Points scored.
Oh, look at this beautiful man, too. Look at Kurt Knight.
Yeah, he nailed that extra point.
This guy looks like he just...
Would Dan Campbell have sent him out to attempt a field goal?
This guy looks like he just stepped out of an orgy in the early 70s, is what it looks like to me. Nice stash.
Would Dan Campbell
nice
have attempted
haircut.
the field goal, at least one of the two, with Kurt Knight? I think so, because he scored a point in the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
He's been there.
Yeah.
He's been there. By the way, the program to score the most points, would you like to guess? Chad's great at this.
Program to score the most points in a Super Bowl. I'm going to
Players
guess.
combined.
Yeah, I'm going to guess Ohio State.
USC.
Both
USC's
great
good
guesses.
guess.
Miami.
I was going to go Miami, and I'd switch to Ohio State.
84 points scored.
Because Tyler's in the room next to me, and I was thinking about Ohio State because of him.
84
I blame Tyler
points
for not saying my
scored.
first guess, which would have been Miami. Damn it.
Good tidbit.
Now I'm even more pissed off. What are we talking about next, Hutton?
Chad, well, everyone's talking about Romo and Nance. They're about to call the Super Bowl.
Romo sucks.
Who does not suck?
I'll tell you a couple guys who don't suck. First off, Greg Olsen is really good. I think
he is great.
Most people agree with that. And he's getting really universal praise right now from sports media for his job as color commentator #1 for Fox on NFL, for NFL on Fox. Does a great job with Kevin Burkhardt. I really like his analysis. I don't think he talks too much. I know some think that he goes a little too long. I don't think so. I think it's just the right amount. I think he's really clear, concise in getting his point across. He's great on television. He knows the game well. He seems like a hard worker. He's good on TV. He's got a good rapport with his play-by-play man. So it's going to be a loss for Fox that they're not going to have him as the #1 color commentator because he's doing a good job. I believe that Fox Sports probably underestimated just how good Greg Olsen was going to become in the time between them signing a contract for Tom Brady to be the #1 and then when Tom Brady was going to take over as the #1 analyst. I do believe they probably underrated Olsen a bit. And now Olsen will move to the #2 spot. There's also a clause in his contract I've read that if he gets a #1 gig with another network, he can leave and break his contract and go somewhere else. So we'll see if another network thinks highly enough of him.
Or if Jim Nance does.
To make him the #1. Or if Jim Nance decides, hey, you want to come play golf with me? Because this Tony Romo guy, that's all he wants to do is play golf. Let's just you and I play a little bit, see if we have good rapport, and we'll take you. Here's the other thing I know about this whole transition. I can't wait to watch Tom Brady call NFL games. And I think that's really being underplayed in all of this. There's a lot of talk about how great Greg Olsen has been and how unfortunate it is for him and all this. Look, I'm not saying that's not true. And Greg Olsen is good. And Tom Brady has done a bunch of interviews today, and he said Greg Olsen is great. He was a great player. He's a great analyst. He's a hard worker, and he's going to be fine wherever he goes. But I can offer a unique perspective. And I'm hearing that and thinking, you're absolutely right, you can. I can't wait to hear from Tom Brady and watch and analyze and see how he does as a television personality and as an analyst during NFL games and during the biggest game on Fox every Sunday. I can't wait. I think he's going to be terrific. And regardless if he's great or not from the start, Hutton, it's going to be a fascinating watch for everyone to watch Tom Brady, the Tom Brady, call NFL games with only him and a play-by-play guy in the booth. He confirmed it's not going to be a three-man booth. Greg Olsen's not going to hang around. It's going to be me and Kevin Burkhardt. I can't wait.
So has he confirmed he's absolutely starting immediately?
He confirmed. Oh, yeah. He was on McAfee today, and I went back and watched it, and he kept coming back to the fact he's so excited to get started this fall calling games.
I would love the three-man booth to begin.
He says that is not going to happen.
I know. But with Olsen, and as good as he's been, Brady would look better paired next to Olsen because I think he's going to crush it. I also understand why he wants the two-man booth because you end up talking over. You have to worry about talking over two people, not one. It's a crowded booth. I mean, that's the way of the network right now. They love crowds. Just look at the pregame and postgame shows. They love crowds. Brady, though, he needs the solo, the solo booth where he is the analyst. But I would start with a three-man, and then you end up figuring out what to do with Greg Olsen because he's that good.
I understand that line of thinking. Here's why you don't do that, though. You don't want the audience comparing the two in real time. You don't want them watching the broadcast and comparing Olsen to Brady, knowing that Olsen has more experience and is going to sound better in the beginning. You want people admiring the fact that you landed Tom Brady and you're hearing from Tom Brady only. Because then it becomes, even if it doesn't become that between the two men, it's like this pissing contest that everyone's watching, and suddenly you've got a scorecard of who's better calling the game.
Well, here's the other part.
You don't want that if you're Fox.
You've got one guy who's way more affordable, even though both are affordable. But Brady's making, what, $375 over 10 years?
He's making $37.5 million a year.
Okay. And let's just say Olsen's not anywhere close to that. So one guy's going to speak way more and can and should. So, yeah, as I think about it, Brady needs to be next to Burkhardt, and that's it. But for one season, I would want to see that transition. I would. However, Fox, if I'm any of the networks, I wouldn't want that because that does count as one of the seasons of the 10.
Yeah.
Brady's going to look. He's going to look and sound great no matter what, just like Olsen. So paired together, if he was a defensive player, I think I would think even more about that. But he's not because you could do the back and forth.
If this is Survivor and I'm just voting someone off the island, if I'm looking at all the national broadcasts or number one teams, I'm not voting Troy Aikman out on Monday Night Football.
He's great. He's my favorite.
I'm not voting Chris Collinsworth out on Sunday Night Football. I agree with you.
A lot of people would.
Kirk Herbstreit, as an NFL guy, maybe, but I'm not voting him out. I'm voting Tony Romo out, and that's not going to happen, I don't think. But, I mean, Hutton, you laid it out there with Jim Nantz. If I'm looking to upgrade from a tactician standpoint of who's just going to be better, and I think who would be better paired with Jim Nantz, I just moved Greg Olsen over to CBS and their national game of the week. And then you have Nantz, Olsen, and you take from Fox at that point what everyone says is maybe the best analyst going right now. But Fox is going to be fine because you get Brady, and everyone's going to want to watch Brady. Here's what we know about the NFL and the numbers this past weekend. Over 56.9 million people watch Lions 49ers. People are going to watch. They're going to watch no matter what. It helps, though, when you have a really good broadcast, and Greg Olsen had that. Tom Brady confirmed he's been on the Fox lot a number of times. He's spoken with Aaron Andrews, who he's going to be teamed up with. They've done work together. He's done dry runs of games and different things. So he's been hard at work at this. I see Brady as a guy who's not going to come into this lazy.
No.
He's going to come ready.
There were a lot of questions. From the jump, you know where I've been on this. He's going to crush it. He's not going to set himself up to fail. And Brady will be critical. I feel he'll be critical about it.
I think so, too.
Think about how critical he's been about quarterback throws and how they should be penalized, not the defense. There should be something for making the mistake when you're rewarded for making the mistake because the defense does something that's against the new rule of the NFL for protecting the health and well-being of the player. I think he will be exceptional at that angle, where right now I think it's mainly Aikman who will be as critical as maybe you want an analyst to be, who will step on the accelerator with that. Not many. Romo's more of the kid playing the sport in the booth, or he was, and then Olsen's kind of right in between that line. And for instance, he refused to be critical about Mike McCarthy. If your coach would be hired if you fired him, you have your answer. You can't fire him. That's just not how it goes. Because if you feel like there's another coach where you are that can take you to the next level above the ceiling that you have reached, then you make a move because your ceiling is way higher than the organization that's about to hire your coach whenever you let him go. That's the reality. He didn't say it that way. He just said Mike McCarthy doesn't deserve to be fired. Look at what's just happened here. They're getting boat raced by Green Bay, and he's saying that. He could feel that way, but he didn't. He softballed that answer or that opinion. Chad, Aikman doesn't do it. I don't think Brady will either. And part of the reason why is, he's only played for two coaches, and one of them is going to be out of the league, which is crazy to think about. And the other one's not going to be featured on the top game of the week that often with what's going on in Tampa Bay as far as the best matchups because they play in the NFC South.
No, I think he could become a real tastemaker for the NFL and for football fans everywhere. Based on his opinion, he can set the standard. He can set a trend for what people are going to be talking about based on his observations of some of the biggest games of the year, biggest game of the week, and what he's saying that he's seeing and being critical, which I'm with you. I think he's not going to hold back on these broadcasts. It may piss off the NFL at some point. Well, and that's the one thing to look at is
I don't think so.
The NFL runs a lot of this, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
It depends how.
But my point is he's not going to hold back because he's afraid of the NFL being upset about it.
No. The only thing it may piss off is Goodell because Goodell and Brady don't like each other all that much. That's clear. Same would go for Belichick and Goodell. You're not going to see them hanging out anytime soon. Or Brady's not showing up to be put in the Ring of Honor in New England, the Hall of Fame for the Patriots, and Goodell's not there to witness it, right? Point being, that may the criticism of Goodell may piss off the NFL, but the favorite booth for the owners, for those making the calls like Roger Goodell and others, the favorite booth is the Monday Night Football booth.
Yeah, and
they have the most critical analysts in that number one spot. What about Olsen paired with Joe Davis? That's the number two
they'll
crew.
Be good.
Yeah, and Davis.
They're going to be really good.
I don't think it's a demotion, but we know that's coming.
Yeah,
it's been there.
The thing to watch now, though, is will another network decide we can upgrade right now? There's a clause in his contract. We'll take him on as number one, or does he just slide into the number two spot the way that it was planned from Fox all along? Look, either one is going to be a good spot for Greg Olsen.
So I guess
he's gonna thrive. He's gonna do a good job with Joe Davis.
This would count,
or with Jim Nantz or anyone else he broadcasts.
This would count for Amazon too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If it's any national broadcast.
Yeah. So I mean, that would you have one more year on the contract with Al Michaels.
Do you put Al Michaels with Greg Olsen
for 1 year?
For 1 year,
and then you have the new play-by-play guy that comes in, whoever that is.
Look, I think that
again,
I wouldn't mind seeing that whole thing reset. Period. I wouldn't mind seeing Greg Olsen with someone else on Prime Video because, I mean, I don't think anyone can deny now that Al Michaels is just not that enthused about doing these games. So I wouldn't mind seeing a completely new team call those games.
By the way, what do you think the 7% bump is due to with the 56 million watched?
The Lions 49ers?
Yeah, nearly, let's just say 57.
7% from the previous year, you're saying?
Yes.
I think it's the Lions factor.
And that last year it was Bengals Chiefs in the same window.
Yeah.
You're climbing there.
Yeah, I think it's the Lions factor more than anything else. They became sort of America's darling, and that's probably the 7% bump in interest. That's a huge number, though.
By the way, Olsen reportedly makes $10 million a year as the lead commentator, and that figure will drop to $3 million if he's in the number 2 role. So, again, he would drop to the number 2 role if he stays. There will be someone that will elevate him. Yeah, and he deserves it.
I don't think Alyssa Milano is going to be putting a GoFundMe out for him anytime soon, though. Even at $3 million a year, so he'll be fine.
Maybe so.
He'll be okay.
If so, maybe Clay would donate.
You'll be fine, Greg.
Clay joins us coming up in less than an hour.
Can't wait to talk to Clay about paying for Alyssa Milano's Little League team to go to a tournament.
Will Mark Cuban be paid for his comments on how he handles his hiring practices? A commissioner for the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission set him straight on social, where he just kind of randomly threw out there that, well, he's breaking the law with his hiring practices. He was responding and posted and said, "I've never hired anyone based exclusively on race, gender, religion. I only ever hire the person that will put my business in the best position to succeed. And yes, race and gender can be part of the equation. I view diversity as a competitive advantage. Now, how would you propose finding organizations that give preference to white people? Why aren't you working as hard to show examples of white preference as you are DEI?"
That's the point.
And so here is Andrea Lucas.
Yeah, and the response.
With the response, the commissioner. Unfortunately, you're dead wrong on the black letter law here. There's the general rule, race, sex can't even be a motivating factor, nor a plus factor, tiebreaker, or tipping point. It's important employers understand the ground rules here. So it can't be the trump card. It can't be bonus points. It's got to be equal. And he's admitting that, well, it's not when it comes to his hiring practices.
Yeah,
he's being called to the floor on it.
The key thing to understand here about where, to me, DEI is flawed as an idea in hiring is Mark Cuban comes out and says, now, how would you feel if someone was biased towards hiring white people there and had a preference for hiring white people? So let's respond to that. But in doing that, he's saying, I actually have a preference for not hiring white people, that I will factor in race, sex, and I won't hire the white guy. And that's going to be a factor because I want to be more diverse. I think diversity in a company is a good thing. I think when it happens naturally, it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing that works out.
And it can happen naturally.
But what needs to happen is you hire who you think is best for the job, regardless of race, sex, religion, sexual orientation, all of these things. That's should be a bedrock principle of America. Should be a bedrock principle of American hiring practices, of corporate hiring practices, of Mark Cuban's hiring practices. It's not with Mark Cuban. He's decided to die on this hill to fight everyone that says anything remotely bad about DEI and hiring practices, like a United Airlines that's going all in on this. So I just don't think that's the way we should do it.
Yeah, well, and you can't based on the law.
Right.
And within one sentence, he is contradicting himself. I only ever hire the person that will put my business in the best position to succeed. Very next sentence, and yes, race and gender can be part of the equation. And then here we go. I view diversity as a competitive advantage. Then if it's a competitive advantage, you can't then write literally 2 sentences earlier, I only ever hire the person that will put my business in the best position to succeed.
It's a problem there.
Yeah, that's just not true if that's the case. And unfortunately, that's the case with many companies.
Hire the best candidate.
Yes.
And things will work out. We have entered a place right now where it has become cool to try to do the 2 wrong thing. We love to do 2 wrongs and try to make it equal a right. And everybody loves to justify this act all over America. Hey, white people came here from Europe and took everything from Native Americans and did what they wanted and brought slaves over. And they've run things now for over 200 years in this country. So it's time for everyone else to run it. So now let's discriminate against white people. They suck. They're awful, even though white people of today had nothing to do with anything in the past. So let's not hire them. White men bad, everyone else good. And even though that's just as bad as the discriminatory practices that white men had for years doing that, we're still going to justify it because we got to reset things. And we got to take things from white people and white men. 2 wrongs don't make a right here.
Unless they vote for the party that you vote for.
And this country is more diverse than it's ever been. And we've got wealth that is spread out among different races more than ever in our history. Is it perfect? No. Have we reached the apex of where we're going to reach as a society? I don't think so. Sure, there may be work to do, but this whole construct of you've had this, now we must take this, and we must give this over, whether it's warranted or not, whether it's deserved or not. That's not America. That's not a meritocracy. And we need to get back to being a meritocracy. And that's how businesses should operate. And Mark Cuban, who I watch on Shark Tank, seems like a brilliant guy in a lot of areas. He sounds like a dumbass when he talks about this.
Well,
so he probably should stop.
And this, like many case, is optics. It's optics. The Rooney Rule, Chad, in the NFL. Now you interview 2 minority candidates for the job. You reach the threshold and you qualify for checking off that box. It doesn't really matter who you hire, even though you've locked in on the candidate you want to hire. Now, if you don't do that, then you're called to the floor on it, right? But it's not a story if you make sure that you're checking the box of the Rooney Rule in the NFL and you interview 2 minority candidates along the way. That's it. Like, it's, again, optics with it. Meanwhile, same sport. College football doesn't have that rule. Just hire or give a raise to whoever you want to.
Yeah.
And there's no one's up in arms over that. Again, it's just optics on who's calling out one side or the other.
I feel like this may shock some people. I root like hell for Mike Tomlin to do well and keep his job because I would like to see the NFL more diverse from a head coaching standpoint because of the amount of black people that play the sport versus those that are the head coaches. I also don't like the Rooney Rule because I think it's forced, and I think that you have these situations where someone may be getting interviewed just to fulfill a quota and to do a check mark on a box, and they're not really giving someone a chance, and that's not the way it should work either. I would like for it to work out where naturally you have coaches, minority coaches, doing well in the league, and you can sustain that for years to come. That's my hope.
And the big argument was Eric Bieniemy, right? He becomes the offensive coordinator. He's with the Commanders, and I mean, where has he been throughout this entire hiring process this year with all the jobs open? He hasn't been mentioned.
No one's saying a word about it.
Hasn't been mentioned.